So, Neshla, thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview with us.
You're welcome.
First of all, could you just tell me who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Neshla and I'm a psychic, so I do readings, but I also do Rahanni celestial healing. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
What is Rahanni celestial healing?
It's a healing modality. It helps people release negativity, fear, anxiety, anything that's holding them back in life, basically, and we try and put that person in balance. So if they've got physical problems, emotional or mental problems, it just helps balance the body so that they can cope with life, really.
How does it sort of work? Is it sort of transferring of energy or removing? Like, how does it sort of work on the body?
But it's a hands-on energy, so basically I put my hands on that person and I channel that energy through that person's body.
Right.
It removes anything they need to let go of, and then we just fill it with the white healing light, if you like, to help them start the healing process. And it is ongoing. It's not like someone jumps on my couch, I suddenly heal them and they're off again. It's one of those things that keeps going for a few days, and then they come back regularly until it's cleared, really, until their problems are cleared.
Right, so it takes multiple sessions to sort of take full effect? Or
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, normally I say to people, can you come for 3 sessions? Because the first time they come and see you, they're usually very nervous, so they don't absorb the energy so much. Second time, they're more relaxed and they get a little bit more from it. But by the third time, they really absorb it, and that really, really kick-starts the healing process, really. But the body has to heal itself, really. But it's just having the mind and trust that it's actually doing the work, if you like.
How have you found, why do people come to receive this sort of healing generally?
Lots of different reasons, really. Some people, if you're going through the grieving process, they just need to release all that guilt. They have guilt, regret, that grieving process they go through. People come for that. Often they come when it's a last resort, so they've tried the doctors, tried medication, that hasn't worked, and there's that fear that they just try anything, if you like. But by that time, sometimes it's a little bit too late. So I have healed quite a few people. I say healed, but I've helped a lot of people who are in palliative care. But it actually helps them cross over because it's acceptance, really, I guess. So they have that calm, healing energy, and that helps them accept their destiny, if you like. And I've seen a real change between somebody who's frightened of dying to having the healing who's actually ready to let go. So it really does help on any level. Right.
And how did you first get into this sort of thing?
Accident, really, I suppose. Yeah. I've always been psychic, so I've always done spiritual work, and I've done my tarot from teenage years, really. But the healing, I read it in a magazine. I was going to work on the train. I used to be in publishing. Picked up a magazine, and I started reading about Rahanni, and I felt really, really drawn to it. And I thought, I've got to do this. I didn't know why, but I decided I had to do it. So I trekked all the way to Essex because there was only one lady that did it at the time.
All right.
And and I learnt it, and I never looked back. And 3 years ago, I left my day job because I've been so busy doing this, and it's much more fulfilling than working for the corporate world.
Yes. Well, you said you're a psychic. Does that play into the Rahanni celestial healing, or are they separate things, or does it help?
Well, it does help because it's an intuitive form of healing. It's not like some healing modalities where you have to do 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, and it's regimented. It's actually very intuitive healing. So when people, what I call, attune to the healing process so they can channel that energy, it does open up their intuition, and it helps people. I mean, I've already lucky enough to open it up. I believe everyone can do it. It's just a case of wanting to. And when you open up your intuition, it just helps guide you. So you're actually guided around the body to where you need to be. So even if someone just comes for just to see what it's like, you normally pick up something they've forgotten and say, there's a lot of energy going into the stomach area. And they say, I forgot about that. I've had this problem or whatever.
Right. Do you think that this has advantages over more traditional sense of healing, like medicines and such, or... Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people come for stress or depression, and when you go to the doctors, they just tend to give you Prozac or something. So I've had a lot of people on that sort of thing. And really, it's not getting to the root cause. When you get to the healing and you can release all the worry behind it, and you cause that, remove the root cause, then they don't need the medication. And quite honestly, these days, doctors are busy, aren't they? So people tend to be given medication without finding out the real reasons behind the thing. And I think healing, because it puts you in balance, it helps that person really relax, and they're able to cope with the world, if you like.
Right.
So it really helps them get through it, and it's great for, as I say, stress or anxiety. Really good.
Were you ever sceptical at all when you first got into celestial healing, or?
Not at all.
No, you're open to it.
When I got attuned to it, I just thought, no, I've got to teach this. And I remember saying to the lady, I've got to teach this, and I never dreamt that I would, but I just knew I had to do it, and I went back nearly 3 years later to learn to teach it, and I started teaching it and trying to spread it, because it's a fairly new healing modality. There was no one in the area that did it, so it's taken a while, but now I've taught a lot of people, and I've travelled to various parts of the country to get it out there.
And when you say you attuned to it, did you attune to it immediately, or does it take time, or?
Well, like anything, we learn it on the day how to use it, and we have this process we call an attunement process. Once we've gone through that, then it does take a while for that person. It's a little bit, because they've got to get rid of their own stuff, if you like.
Right. Okay.
A bit like what they say, the onion and layers thing. So we've all got our stuff, haven't we? So we heal ourselves. So people will do a healing process on themselves to get rid of their own stuff, fear, negativity, anger, guilt, regret, all those things from the past that we hold in the body system. And when we clear that, then we're much clearer to help others.
Right.
But it's helping yourself first, if you like.
Of course, yeah.
And some people learn it just to do healing on themselves. And when you're kept in balance, then obviously it's easier to cope with life in general.
So you can sort of heal yourself as well as other people, like it can work on your
you
own.
can do anything.
Okay.
When you learn the healing, it's so simple. You can learn it in a day, but you can heal yourself. You can heal others. You can heal animals. You can even send it distantly. So it can go. It's just energy. So you can send it to your great uncle Fred in Australia, and it will work just as if he was here in front of you.
Right. Okay. What did your family and friends think about this when you sort of got into it?
Do you really want to know?
Yes,
My family always think I'm bonkers. No, they always. I've always been a little bit different from my brothers and sisters, but now they've sort of accepted it a bit, but they still joke about it. I mean, my dad will ring me up and say, how's business? And I'll say, fine. And then he'll say, oh, still mad people coming to see you. And you just say, yeah. So he doesn't get it really, but because it is strange. And I know when I left my day job, a lot of people thought it was a bit strange to give a really good job and a good salary up for this. But you get a lot more fulfillment helping people.
Yeah, it's more of a lifestyle. It's not really a job, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like work.
No,
that's
good,
that's a great way to be. And if everyone felt like that, it'd be so much nicer. Not less stress around.
When you say you've always been psychic, so did that come? How did that come out when you were younger? Did you have like an experience that made you realise you were, or?
No, it was just I always knew things.
You just knew, yeah?
Yeah, it's just knowing things. The phone would ring and you just say, oh, that's Grandad saying that he's going to pop round on Sunday or something, and then my mum would pick up the phone and think, how did she know that? That sort of thing. And I just thought everybody was like it, really. And it was only later on I realised that I was a little bit different from everybody else. Right.
Okay. And there's this Rahanni Celestial Healing, there's not many people who do that. It's a new thing.
Yeah, it was founded in... it was launched really in 2008 by a lady called Carol Stacey, who was in Malden in Essex, and she's started getting it out there really. But it's like anything, we need new things it's like a computer, isn't it? You replace the old with the new, so we always need new things to help people. So she channeled this and started getting it out there. So when I learnt it, as I say, I've gone on the journey with her, and she recently retired. Actually, this year she's retired and handed it over to me. So I'm looking after it now, trying to spread the word, which is why I travel. I've travelled recently to Bideford in Devon, which is quite a trek, just to teach people to get it out there.
Oh, nice. And it's something that sort of everyone can learn, you say?
Yeah, if you're interested and it feels right for you, then it's the right thing to do. But yes, I mean, we are used as a channel. We're not doing the healing. The energy that we're using through us going to that person is doing the healing.
And is it sort of like a belief sort of thing? You have to believe it for it to work, because that's what sort of other energy practitioners have said.
Well, yes, it's like anything. I mean, you know, we can close ourselves off to it, can't we? So if you came and laid on my couch and said you wanted some healing, but you really thought this isn't going to work, then it's not going to.
Right. Okay.
It's about believing and trusting, because it I don't know. You can block it off, really, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no
A lot of
point.
things,
It's like you should never force anyone to do anything, because if they don't believe it, then there's no point. It's like when you do a reading. If you did a reading for somebody, if they're totally blocked, it's very hard to do it because they don't want to give away anything. So how can you pick it up?
Exactly. Okay, and so do you have any advice for someone who's sort of trying to get into spiritual teaching, or just be a student?
Well, as I say, if anyone wants to do that, I mean, have a look at the website, have a look at the Rahanni and see if they're drawn to it, and if it sounds right for them, then it is. Because it's one of those things I always find, you just know if you need to do it, you know? And if people wanted healing, as I say, that it's always worth a try, and always be open-minded. That's what I always say to people. Come in with an open mind and see if you like it, because not everyone feels comfortable, because it depends how logical they are. If they're a bit logical and they can't see the other side, if you know what I mean, then it's very difficult for them. But if they're open and ready to receive it, I've seen miracles. I really have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like what sort of thing?
Well, for example, there was a lady who had breast cancer, and she came to see me, and when she was supposed to have a mastectomy, and when she came back, she let me know that the doctors ended up giving her a lumpectomy instead, and I'm sure it's the healing that helped. Yeah. And I've worked with a lot of people on Prozac or some other antidepressant, and I've worked alongside the doctor to help them come off this. And this particular lady I'm thinking of, had been on it for like 8 years, and gradually, after quite a few healing sessions, going towards to the doctor and back, she's now totally off the antidepressants.
Wow.
Which is good. And I've just seen people that you think have been really, really ill actually really improving, which is really nice. And it's wonderful for children as well, especially children that struggle, children that have been labelled with autism, ADHD, that sort of thing, and it just settles their energies. So it's really good for children as well.
So, yeah, what sort of age groups do you get coming to see you?
It varies, really. I mean, you can do it right from babies right to older people. But, you know, I suppose, I mean, recently I've seen quite a few children. I think more parents are beginning to be more open and don't want their children on drugs and things, because there are children that suffer from worry and stress, because there's a lot of pressure on people these days. So therefore, you know, they come to me. So I see a lot of I suppose exam age children, really, with all the pressure with that. So that really helps them just to relax before their exams. And yeah, I would like to say, and the interesting thing is there's more and more men now, whereas before it was all women that I was treating, very, very rarely, but now there's a lot more men coming and trying it, which is good.
Why do you think more men are starting to do it?
I think men are becoming more open now. I mean, they've changed. You know, I'm not going to say cliche, but it's true. I mean, years ago, you look at my dad's generation, and he wouldn't, you know, change nappies or help with the kids.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
Now men are being more open, in touch with their feminine side, if you like. They don't mind to have a cry, whereas they wouldn't before. And I think it's just that one step. They're beginning to feel a little bit more in touch with themselves and recognising, actually, you know, there might be something in this.
That's true. You said earlier that you worked with a doctor to help someone. How did they feel coming from sort of a more traditional medical side, working with spiritualism? Did they accept it?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see the doctor, but it's the girl that saw the doctor. But having said that, I actually had a client recommended to me who suffered from extreme stress, and they wanted to put on drugs, and she said that she didn't want to go on drugs, and the doctor said go and see an alternative therapist then.
Right.
And I thought that was great that the doctor was very open-minded, and this particular lady came to see me, and I said, wow, where's your doctor? But unfortunately it was a bit further away. But it's good. I think, you know, doctors are stressed these days. They've got a lot on. So if there's somebody that could do with just a bit of healing to help them, then it's great if that's what they'd like to do.